We're at Santapod's FIA-FIM main event for round 2 of the 2019 European Funny Car Series. With 2 days of qualifying followed by eliminations on Bank Holiday Monday, there's plenty of action to look forward to. Round 1 at the Easter Festival of Power saw Kevin Chapman narrowly beat Kevin Kent, but unknown to us, that final run caused huge problems for Kevin Kent.
Going into this event, we thought that everything was hunky-dory at the end of Easter, and it turns out that things weren't. There was a big fire, and it's had quite a bit of an impact.
Yeah, that's right. We torched the heads, number 7 cylinder, but there's an oil line that feeds the rear main, and that also took brunt of the fire, and that was what was feeding the fire, basically. So yeah, we had a new sleeve and new gloves on the fire suit. Also it affected my visor in the crash helmet, which caused an infection in my eye. So yeah, it was... It didn't end very well, to be honest.
At least, you know, the fire suit did its job. You didn't suffer burns by the looks of you.
No, the fire suit done its job. Everything was fine with stand 21. The suit had to go back to them to have a new arm put in it and a new set of gloves. I was really late off the line, and I just got alongside Kevin Chapman, and I thought, right, I got you, and then it just burst into flames. But yeah, we run it right through the finish line. But yeah, he done me at the end anyway. Yeah, that was a quite intense fire. I couldn't see for the flames, and then pulled the fire bottles and that put it out instantly, but then I couldn't see through all the foam from the fire bottles. So yeah, it was a bit of a hairy ride at the top end.
Problems also for Steve Ashdown, who had to withdraw from that event.
Well, as I said before, we went out and bought a load of new stuff, and for whatever reason, things weren't quite right. Tried to make it work, and you have to make a decision sometimes, as hard as it may be. I had to call it, and I had no real choice in doing so. Could have gone out and probably done more damage, it cost more money, and the problem we had, Easter being so late, means the main event was so close. It wasn't even about the money, it was about the time of getting other stuff from America. It was just a time thing, you know. So I made the call, had my first little set to with my crew chief and Dave about it, but sitting back, cup of coffee later, we was all like, you know what, right thing to do, because now it left us in a good place for this event now, sort of thing. You know? So it was definitely the right thing to do. I'm a lot more relaxed. I'm not so stressed as I was when I last spoke to you, and I'm hoping, yeah, I'm quietly confident we're gonna have a good go, yeah.
So we move into the first qualifying session. Jason Phelps with the Gladiator is taking on Steve Ashdown with the Undertaker. And they're given the signal to fire up. So, Steve is in the left energy check lane and Jason is in the right auto glim lane. Neither of these cars were really performing correctly at round 1, so it'll be interesting to see if they've solved the problems. Steve told us that the team has replaced a lot of mismatched parts since then, but there's no way to test these 10,000 horsepower beasts till you actually get them down to the track. Pulling up to the line, and probably expect a short checkout pass from Steve rather than a full power run. Slow off the line for Steve and more problems for Jason, but a storming opener for Steve. 447 at 256 to the 1,000 foot line and a broken blower belt for Jason. Kevin Kent in the left lane. And looks like the Thermo Red car having problems starting, so it's a solo for the West 10 car. A good launch, but off the power quite early on.
Well, you said you'd done a lot of replacements and you hoped it was going to work, and judging by what we've seen today, yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, it seems to be the proof's in the pudding, as they say. But yeah, it's dare I say it, touch wood. It's come together. The spirit and the team have it's just like we needed it. It's just what we needed, you know. Just a bit of a rubbish one, as you know, at the Festival of Power. So it's lifted the spirits of everybody, you know. I'm up for winning the event. Get some runs in, win the event. The 420s. You've seen what Kevin did. I'm not interested in that just yet. I'll slowly catch a monkey, and I'll hopefully go out and give it a good go at winning the event. But there's 4 good teams out here, 4 good drivers. It's anyone's game still yet, so we'll see what happens.
Into qualifying session 2, and it's the two Kevins. The Thermo Reg racing car of Kevin Chapman fired up without problems this time, and Kevin Kent in the right lane. So as the bodies come down, neither car has yet put in a representative pass. Looking better off the line for both cars, but off the power at around half track, netting 1,000 foot times at 4.91 for Kevin Chapman and 5.15 for Kevin Kent, and the replay showing just why they backed off. Both cars heading strongly to the left by quarter track, nicely saved by both drivers. Track conditions are good today. It's warm with absolutely no wind at all, but a few rain clouds are starting to appear in the distance, and the next pair is fired up ready to burn out as the West 10 team head off to collect their car from the shutdown area. Jason's still trying for a representative pass after that blower belt failure on the last launch, and to put these things into context, the blower or supercharger on a nitro funny car motor takes as much power just to spin as a Formula 1 engine gives out in total. So that belt has to be able to transmit a huge amount of power without shredding. Very limited visibility in these cars, so crew chief Dave Bryant directs Steve to the staging beams that will operate the tree. Problems for Jason at the hit, and Steve getting down the track again, but with no improvement. Back in Jason's pit, what's been causing the problems?
We're still trying to work out what happened. The two things were completely separate incidents. The first one, it hit a wheelie bow and unloaded its tyres, so we span. And the second one, to be honest, we're a little bit in the dark still. So we're trying to work it out now. It's in bits behind me.
When you get things like this, how do you start in trying to work out what the heck happened? Because there's so many variables.
I give a little bit of feedback to my crew, but the crew are the ones who have a look at it. I'm not really a crew. I build chassis, but I'm not an engine person. They're sitting there looking through clutches and axles, and then it's a really. This car has given me so many first-time experiences. This is just another one. Stood on its back wheels last week, you know what I mean? Now it just loses drive. Tell you what we did do though, we lost the throttle stop in the burnout, and we've still got a motor. Yay!
You're obviously still enjoying it.
Yeah, it's good fun. They're a nice bunch of people, and they're new and it's sort of enthusiastic. And I'm not the sort of driver that gets stressy. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I think it's all of a sudden this thing's just going to fly, and we've been a little bit unlucky. We'll work it out. Come back tomorrow. We're going to have 2 goes before it all gets serious. Yeah, we'll be all right.
A lot of work going on there. Is it just general maintenance? Is it survived today?
Yeah, no, today's gone well. We've done no damage, apart from we've cracked the drive line on the rear end. So we're just going to service the motor and then start shipping the rear end out. Yeah, I mean, we've got the same tune-up in it as we did from Easter. We should be running in the 20s or trying at least get in the teens with it. So yeah, we'll just see how tomorrow comes.
On to day 2 and qualifying session number 3, and it's a solo run for Jason in the Gladiator car. But looks like tyre shake and off the power early, so no representative time this run, but at least the previous problems look to be sorted. Steve Ashdown with the Undertaker, already in number 1 qualifying position. Steve's up against the thermo red car of Kevin Chapman. Kevin won the last round but seems to have picked up problems in the weeks since Easter and hasn't put in a full power run yet this weekend. Pulling into stage, first the pre-stage light, then the full stage lights come on. Side by side with the Undertaker, but Steve drifts across the centre line. The timing blocks go flying, and those times on the boards will be false as a result. The replay from the top end camera shows the car drifting to the left, Steve unable to keep it in his own lane. And luckily Kevin was off the power, so no danger of a collision there. A final look from behind the start line, the car straight till about half track, then a sharp move to the left. Onto Q4 now, and it looks like a new car, but it's actually Kevin Kent in a car he borrowed overnight from Santa Pod CEO Keith Bartlett. Looks like the problems he was describing were far more severe than he first thought. Well, this was actually the body and chassis from the old Leif Helander car that won the series some years back, and it gets Kevin qualified and into the show. Final attempt for Jason Phelps then. Can he start to show some of the potential that we know the car has? Not this time. Looks like that could be yet another blower belt gone, turning out to be a very frustrating weekend for the team. But on the positive side, at least he's qualified, so he gets another go down the track in tomorrow's first round eliminations. Final pair is Kevin Chapman in the thermo red car and Steve Ashdown in the Undertaker. Steve no doubt hoping to go a bit straighter than the last run. The track still has warmth in it and the air is good, so good numbers of possibility if they've got a handle on the setups. Both cars on the power further this time. Steve holds onto number one spot with a 460 and Kevin's off the power now but still coasts through to a 530 DT. So, what was the story behind the new car for Kevin Kent?
Basically, the parts we needed for the rear end we didn't have. The spares nothing matched basically. Plus there was some damage to the chassis that needed welding up, and it needs to go back on the jig for that. So yeah, it was a case of going to speak to Mr. Bartlett and asking very politely if we could use his car.
Which luckily he just happened to have one in his spare garage, which was good. But even so, there's a lot of work to get it race ready and get your kit into it.
There was, by the time, well, I mean, I got my guy started stripping our car down anyway, and by the time I went and looked at what condition Keith's car was in and speaking to him on the phone, many phone calls, by the time we got back with the car, the guys had already had our one already stripped out, so it was just a case of wheeling our car out, wheeling Keith's car in and transferring everything back onto it.
And the job was finished at what time?
We called it at about, 5:15 this morning, and then started it again at about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah, we would have made Q3, but we had an issue with a points box, a broken wire in the sheath on the Fireflex, and then we put another one on it, and that was 40. So we was chasing an issue that we didn't quite realise what we had,
That just shows the sort of dedication that you have to have really in this country to do well in this sport, doesn't it, I guess?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you've got to give it to our crew. When I told them that I'm going to bring another car in a roller, and they just sort of sunk in their chair, but, they all said, we're either going to do that or go home. We've come here to race, we've come here to win a race.
So there you are, you've done all that work, you come out to the qualify, but you're in a strange car you've never driven before, it's been warmed up in the pits once, you don't know what's going to happen, you're hoping it's going to hold together. What was that like?
Yeah. To be honest with you, the car's quite nice. It is a good car. It was the car to beat in 2013 when Leif Helander was driving it. He was the man to go out and try and run him down. But yeah, it was different. To be honest, from driving that to with the Mustang body, The only easy way to explain it's like ripping the front seats out your car and driving it in the back seat. It's that much difference. It's untrue.
So on to race day and quarterfinals. We're on board with Jason Phelps as the body on the car is lowered down. So claustrophobic in there as he works the hand control brake with the cab filling with smoke. And that's Kevin Chapman there in the left lane. So burnout completed and they carefully back up in the hot sticky tyre tracks. And you can see that Jason has no visibility behind the car at all. He's strapped in so tight that he can barely breathe, much less look around. Neither car has really performed this weekend, so it's anyone's guess who'll take the win. Remove the burnout throttle stops, then final checks, and down come the bodies. Jason inches the car into stage. And it's Kevin out in front right from the launch. 472 at 198 miles per hour. But no luck for Jason. Seems like he hit the centre blocks. He plants the accelerator and the car fills with clutch dust. The whole car shakes all over the place as he fights the steering wheel, and he's off the power by half track. The top end view clearly shows Jason out of shape straight after the launch. Well controlled. And as the car comes to rest and Jason gets his breath back, you can only imagine the physical stress that the human body goes through in these cars. Second semi-final sees Steve Ashdown take to the track, but no sign of Kevin Kent in the borrowed car. It turns out they broke the axle in that car as well in last night's final qualifier, so Steve is guaranteed a place in the final. And a gentle squirt off the line. No point in stressing the engine when the race is already won. On to the final. Steve Ashdown in the right lane taking on Kevin Chapman. On performance this weekend, Steve has the edge, but we saw the Thermo Red car put in some stellar performances at the last event, so nothing is guaranteed. Does Steve go for a safe tune that will get him down the track? Or does he push it a bit in case Kevin gets it right? But that could risk overpowering the track and going up in smoke. Racing at this level is not just about who has the most power. So edging into stage, who has made the right call? Even off the line, but Steve pulls away by half track and takes the win, 475 beating a 558, and that's one very delighted crew. So the decision to withdraw from the last event to regroup and rebuild was the right one, and back in the pits both crew and driver are pleased, to say the very least.
Thank you.
Steve, that was fantastic.
Yeah, out of this world, out of this world. Very fortunate, very good weekend, great weekend. Yeah.
And considering how the season started, where things weren't going right and just all went through.
What a difference a month makes, eh? It's just, yeah, the best thing we did pulling out Easter was go and recoup. And the team needed it. Well, I needed it, but the team, they were absolutely. I wouldn't change a thing. Absolute marvellous. Everyone, all the fans, friends, family, team, brilliant. Can't fault them.
And you can see the crew absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Well, that's to say, we all needed it. We all needed it. After last season, the end of last season, the beginning of this season, it's been a bit of a low one. So yeah, we're all good, and I want to thank everyone, absolutely everyone that's been behind us.
Bit more wrapping needed.
Yeah, apparently so. But yeah, I'll get it done for the next meeting. Don't worry.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. All the best. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So that win boosts Steve in the points table, but Kevin's runner-up spot keeps him in the lead at the moment. Just over a month to go until the next round at Santapod's Bug Jam. We'll see you then.